the car drops me off and goes and does something else.
Yes.
I mean, once the car starts driving itself, there's no need for me to own the car anymore.
Well, I think ownership changes, right? Because I'm
the
be honest
perception
with you,
of ownership changes.
I am always going to own
I'm
my E63. I'm sorry, but I am. I'm always like there's just something about that supercharger whine that I'm always going to own the bloody thing. So I think ownership changes. Ownership changes to
you want to own it, not then you have to have it.
Exactly.
Again, that's what we've been talking about. That's why the cars are getting cooler.
So
the cars have to get cooler because you got to want to own it.
Welcome to the Old Guys No Shit podcast in Dealercast Studios, where we bring together decades of automotive knowledge, all together in one place. Here's your host, Old Guys Who Know Shit.
Hey, what's going on, Dealercast Nation? I am Jason Harris.
I'm Rob Mudd.
And I'm Larry Bruce.
And this is Old Guys That Know Shit podcast. Again, I always
Larry, do you really know shit?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on I know shit.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to talk about that.
He knows shit. Pretty good about talking shit too. That's what I think.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
You put a nickel on Larry, you get $1 worth.
You get
That's a good one. I'm going to use that one.
And no change.
No change. I feel like that's what our next T-shirt needs to be.
That's funny shit.
Well, speaking of that, I mean, aren't we going to have some swag on the website here pretty soon?
Yeah, we've got to put some swag up here pretty quick.
Okay, so guys, if you don't know, there's a website. I think there is. Guys, if you don't know, there's a website. You guys need to go check out the website. Larry, what's the website?
Dealercast.com. TheDealercast.com. The Dealercast.
It is a cool website.
Yeah, it is cool.
It is a cool website.
It's very good.
I think we outkicked our punt coverage on that one.
We did.
Your son's got a good leg.
Yeah.
Guys, hey, we got some cool topics today. Actually, a cool topic today, but I know it's going to go into all kinds of additional rabbit holes because I know we all three of us have some very. This is one of those topics when I was like writing it out. I was like, okay, this is going to be the one where we're totally not always going to agree on it. Like, there's going to be some wildness, but we're going to talk about AI in the driver's seat, transforming the automotive industry. It's actually hard for that to come out of my mouth. Actually, it almost kind of tastes bad when I say it. You guys can obviously see I got some opinions on this. Okay, but I'm going to let you guys kind of take this. Like, all right, is this AI thing real? Is it really going to be in the driver's seat? Is it really going to transform the automotive industry? What are you guys' thoughts?
I think it's real. I think it's going to change a lot of stuff. How fast? I don't know. But since they introduced it, it's gone a lot faster than any of us thought it would go.
Yeah.
So speed and velocity are two different things. Mm-hmm. And once we hit velocity, no one knows how fast it's going to go.
Well, I mean, it's not going to fundamentally transform the car business the way you hear. It's not going to replace a salesperson. Let's stop that. It's not going.
But here, stop there though.
What?
It won't. But the people that think it will, that's the problem.
I mean, just like the whole digital retailing craze a couple of years ago.
But that was brought on because of COVID.
Right. You're going to have the guys come out. Well, it's going to change. You're going to get rid of car sales. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. Stop, please, God. But at the end of the day, because people will always want to buy from people.
No, I agree.
But at the end of the day, there's a lot of low-level tasks. I'm going to tell you what. I will tell you my 100%, my 1,000%. I mean, hell, I made a business for this. So the one place in the first place in the dealership that's going to be dramatically reduced, if not completely taken over, by AI will be the BDC. Yes.
Yeah.
will be the BDC.
It's an extra expense, man. Margin constriction. They got to get rid of it.
They've got it. I mean, it's lower level communication, generally to get an appointment.
To turn over to a sales guy.
To turn it over to a sales guy. Perfect for AI. As long as your AI can be backed up. It can be backed up by a CDP, so it has context. And as long as your CDP has access to outside libraries, so it can answer the questions the customer has, because it still has to answer the questions. It's no customer's going to send in a lead and then the AI send back, well, here's the appointment, and make the appointment. That's not going to happen. There's going to be a question. There's going to be some level of back and forth questions and answers before they decide I'll make an appointment with you. The way it happens today.
Hey, have you ever made an appointment to go see a car dealer? Not selling, to buy a car.
To buy a car? Yes,
I never have.
I have, and I think simply because I know that I have a very specific time to get something accomplished, so therefore I just need them to be ready for me when I'm there. Otherwise, I don't think I.
I did a long time ago just to do it. I mean, now, I don't know that but I know I can't really answer that question anymore. I've got a couple of good friends. When I want to buy a car, it's a way different experience.
Larry, you got to put yourself back in the consumer shoes.
Yeah, it's just a way different experience for me, and I do it because I don't have the time, and so I have a standing. Hell, I'll just say it. Randy, shout out to Randy Stein at Advantage BMW in Clear Lake. When I go to buy that car, we have a standing agreement that I pay $2,500 over invoice. I show up, I get my car, I sign the paperwork, and I leave.
Yep.
And ironically, I bought my daughter, an X3 here not too long ago, and $2,500 over invoice was actually over sticker, and he backed it back to sticker. I paid it. That's just my agreement.
Well, that's good for you, but it's for 99.999%
of everybody else. So that's why I say I can't talk about it because I've been out of that game for so long, as far as from a consumer standpoint.
But from a behavioral standpoint, I'm a emotional buyer, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so when you get the desire to go shop, which I rarely ever do, right? It might just hit me, and then I show up and I'll do something, and then if I like, that is the car business.
That happens all the time.
All the time.
And what has changed with the car business is that the marketing guys have said you got to start with the funnel, right? The funnel, the AI funnel, right? Which I don't believe in. I think people can come into that funnel anytime they want to.
Oh, that funnel's full of shit.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I digress. I'm sorry.
So I don't mind actually going to the funnel, because I think there is a place for AI if it's real AI. Look, 98% of the companies out there claiming to be AI they're not. They're machine learning, which actually
machine learning.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Let's be clear. Machine learning is AI.
Okay, but
it's a different level of AI. Here's where I have a problem. I have a problem when your AI is not. What's really not AI is a keyword-based decision tree, or if it's a question.
It's machine learning.
That's not a machine learning. Machine learning is it changes the process. This is it's going to say the same thing.
I'm going to go A. I'm going to go B.
It's going to say the same thing every time. It asks a question.
That's a
and
decision tree,
and then it gives you the answers, right? And then you choose the answer, and then it gives you more answers. That's not AI.
No. And that's why when we get into topics like this, I'm like what AI is really affecting the dealerships. We'll talk about, like we were talking about on a previous episode. I was in Phoenix. I took an autonomous vehicle. All right, that was real AI. That is a piece of machinery that is making decisions completely on its own of when to accelerate, when to brake, when to turn right, when to turn left, and it is making those decisions completely on its own. And those are the types of technologies that I think as a dealership, like when we're really talking about AI, yes, now there are parts of AI that we can use in process. And I think any of our processes to make them go faster and more effective, we can use, AI in some automated way. But when I think of AI and how it's actually going to affect the dealership, I look at like the driverless vehicle I just took. That's crazy. Like how, and I thought about this, like as I'm in the car, I'm like, how does this change the ownership? Like what's the next dealership?
You're back to changing the car in the retail car industry.
Well, even
That's
the,
a different
even the
question.
service side, like even the service side. I mean, think about this, guys. Like right now, I service at the GM dealership on my street because it's the closest GM dealership to me, right?
Right.
Now, if my vehicle can drive itself to go get it, well, now I don't give a. I could choose
Anywhere.
Do I really care if it drives an extra 30 miles because you know what I mean? Like it's.
You just want to know when it's going to go do that.
Might be helpful, right?
You know.
Yeah, but I mean you're back to that's changing the retail car industry.
Well, I think
because
AI
where you
changes-
service and why you service there changes the retail car industry. There's the car industry that makes the cars, and then there's a retail car industry that sells the cars.
So that's where I want to go.
And
like
then
I
there's
want to go
people that use the cars.
because I think there's a lot of we've talked a lot about how AI can help our service advisors and our salespeople. But let's talk about because we're getting really close. It was Larry, your buddy with the Tesla, right? Is that who we're talking about?
Alan Cooper.
Yeah, he just did his Christmas shopping in the back of his Tesla.
Yeah.
Like this is not like we're not talking 2 decades away stuff, guys. We're talking
happening
about something
today.
that's literally happening right now. As a service department or as a sales department, what do I need to do? Or as a dealership owner, what do I need to do to prepare for this type of real technology?
Well, I think you got to identify AI for what segment you're talking about, right? Are we
Right.
talking about manufacturing of cars? Are we talking about customer service? Are we talking about marketing AI?
Right.
Until
Where
you
does
get
it-
into
where does it-
quantum AI, which is all encompassing, which is the next thing, right? That's the Internet of Things. All this stuff is the same shit. They just give it different names.
Yeah.
As it escalates down time.
Right. But at the end of the day, I mean, that driverless car AI is going to affect the dealership, the retail dealership, in a very different way. There will just be a need for less retail dealerships.
Yeah.
Is that what you think will happen?
No. It
has to.
100% will happen. I mean, when I can walk out of my house and push a button
And a car
and have a
shows up.
car show up within 2 minutes and take me wherever I want to go,
It's called,
and it costs me $10, no matter where I go.
It's called a chauffeur.
Yeah, that is exactly what it is. But it's an AI chauffeur.
Right, yeah.
Right?
For every man. Like
Right.
Ford made a car, every man should be able to buy a
Right.
vehicle
So
for
at that point-
$5.
right.
Every man should have a chauffeur.
Yeah.
AI chauffeur for whatever the payment is.
Exactly. And so right. So I'm now subscribing to
Right. And that gets you into a SaaS model.
Right,
and that
right.
can take you on your exit, right?
Yeah, that takes you a long way, right? At the end of the day, so I'm subscribing to Ford, I'm subscribing to GM, or I'm subscribing to a car service that's picking me up, taking me where I want to go on my day-to-day transportation. I mean, there's an old saying that if the railroads had understood they were in the people moving business and not the steel rail business, we'd all be flying on Pacific, Union Pacific Airlines right now.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing that goes with the manufacturer.
Yep.
You need to realize you're in the people moving business. You are not in the car making business. And so how do people move? Well, people will move for a lot of reasons. What did the car represent to you when you were growing up?
Freedom.
Freedom, right.
Yes.
And now I don't need it to have freedom anymore.
No, you know what gives you freedom is your cell phone.
Cell phone, exactly.
That's right.
Right? So all of a sudden things change. Movement is freedom.
Yep.
Being able to leave this spot when I want to go and go here. Why do I have a private jet? Because when I'm ready to go, it's ready to go.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why.
It would have been
And,
convenient.
with FaceTime on phones, you have now gone into instant teleporting, right?
Close.
For the most part. Because I can see the person, I can talk to the person, I don't need to go anywhere. And that's why kids aren't getting their driver's license at 16 years of age.
Oh no, 100%.
Right?
Yeah, you
They don't
didn't
need it.
teleport, you drive a port. But you got from here to there, and I didn't
Instantaneous.
need a person to do it.
No, I didn't need anything to do.
Or need
So
anything
this
to-
technology exists now. All right, let's give it a decade. How does that change?
Now, but see, now there are fewer car dealers in a decade from now. The cars the people that are buying cars are buying them because they're cool.
The want buyers versus
Right?
need buyers.
Yeah, they're
true.
very much want buyers, right? I mean, if it's me, it's because I went and bought a '67 Corvette.
Yeah.
Or I bought the super neatest, coolest, sleekest looking car that when I drive up, everybody goes, ooh.
There's
It's going to make it reminds me of kind of like car development in like the early 50s.
Right.
Like it's just like, like when Cadillac was building, such, incredibly big, large vehicles that it cost $23,000 to build the car, but they only sold it for $13,000. Like it's just like we're gonna make these things just big, outrageous, large, shove as much technology into them.
Right.
I think it's gonna be exciting. Actually, it's gonna come down to what the manufacturer does. I think more than what the dealer does.
Yeah,
for sure. Because
well,
here's
it comes
what's
down. Not really. I don't even call it the manufacturer. It's going to come down to what the consumer wants. The manufacturers. I hate to break it to Ford and General Motors, but you've been out of control of this for about 15 years.
So what we don't know is what happened when the government had to bail out all the OEMs.
Yeah,
right?
it wasn't even. It's not even that. I mean, think about it. Now it's so much easier to be a car company. Why do you think there are so many car companies? Before the battery thing happened, before electrification of cars happened, that you didn't see very many. I mean, you got what? You had Kia. Yeah, you go give it a shot.
Yep.
Right, and that go. It took Hyundai years and billions of dollars loss to get there. It took Kia
here's why that did.
Less time,
because they all wanted to sell cars in America,
right.
and they had to meet emission standards.
Right.
And if you couldn't get in. That's what changed this whole game.
There are more new car manufacturers now in the last 5 years than there have been in the last 50.
Yeah, not for long.
Right. Well,
not for long.
Well,
I mean,
Nvidia.
How many billions did they just get given again?
Yeah. I mean, how long can they? I mean, they all want to be Tesla. They all want to be Elon. They all want to fight against the retail dealer network. I'm waiting for the guy that goes, "Hey, I'm your Huckleberry. You could sell my electric cars." Right?
Yeah.
Yes,
well, that's what they're going to get to.
Yeah.
Right? Because the idea that you could displace the dealer is crazy.
Right.
I mean, everybody wants to make the distance between the customer and the sale as short as possible, right? If you're the OEM.
Right.
But you're not going to be able to do it because you got to service the stuff. People aren't as smart as we like to think people are. They're going to have questions. They're never going to get rid of it. They may want to. What's the biggest fight? Between the factory and the dealer and the factory. That's always been the case.
Yeah.
That won't ever change because I don't think the dealerships.
But Tesla's
they're
they had a different motivation.
Right, exactly. They're a one-off. They're an outlier. He's a character.
I mean, well, he didn't start the car company to be a car company.
No, he didn't.
Every Tesla that comes back to Tesla is being used to test the autonomous driverless car and eventually become the service that you subscribe to.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where he's headed. You mean, come on, guys. You can't not.
No, that's where he's going.
The people can't see this. I'm like, why can't you see this? It's so freaking clear.
It is clear. Yes. But the other thing that they don't pay attention to is what happens. What are the unintended consequences for what we're doing today that will affect tomorrow?
Exactly.
And I believe that is in labor and what we're going to do to our labor force because it takes 34,000 moving parts for an ICE vehicle. It takes 2,300 for an electric vehicle. And those unibodies go 1,000,000 miles.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. What are you going to do? I mean, right?
Well, guys, and look, I love the fact that we've gone down this rabbit hole because I haven't heard enough of this in podcasts. I think too often, like when we're going down this, like because this is a real thing. The technology is 100% there.
Well, look at the UAW contracts they just signed based off Ford and Chrysler
100%
just got hoodwinked because they signed a contract with the UAW based on electrification, right? Because the union saw it coming. Yeah. But what they didn't take in consideration, the OEM, is no one's buying them. And so now they've locked themselves into a contract based off the evolution of EVs, and the market isn't there.
Well, I mean, the market, just like the
market isn't there.
No, it's not there now, right? But look at the way the internet started in the car business.
No,
right?
I think there's a place for it. There's a place for it, but it's not.
I love that we keep saying the market's not there. Yet nationally, all right, we see month over month increases in EV registrations.
Well, you bought that.
We keep saying it, but there's more and more getting registered every single month.
Let all the subsidies run out, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, let the subsidies run out, and wait till someone. Well, they're already. charging these things, right? Remember the charging stations that you have to have that Biden's built 3 of them for $1 billion. I mean, it's insane. It's crazy. You can't support it. And for us to even say that we can is disingenuous to the public.
Well, I think Mazda's giving them away now. They'll come to your home and install them.
Well, there's leaders out there.
And actually, there's a lot of I know a guy who runs nothing but a used car EV, and it's the same thing. It's a part of the purchase.
It's a part. You're right.
We're going to come out, install it,
let you plug it, give you a place to plug it in, and that all that. I mean, all that will mean all that is doing is eventually it's the step towards for your everyday driving needs to be autonomous and not yours.
Right. That's what they don't want people to own anything.
It's a step there.
Have you guys watched Landman?
Yeah.
A great movie. Great show, by the way.
It's fantastic. And Billy Bob Thornton does an awesome job of explaining it all, right? That it's all bull.
Yeah, but if you really dig into those numbers, he's actually wrong. But that's not the point. I mean, the point of the matter is that petroleum goes way
everything.
It goes way beyond just the gas that goes into your car.
It's in everything.
It's in everything. Right? And so you're not, getting rid of drilling isn't the answer.
No, it isn't the answer for any, because what they're doing in Africa is strip mining for the most part, right?
Oh,
we got rid of that.
Yeah, no one wants to talk about what it takes to get the lithium out of the ground for the bad. No.
Well, that's why Elon's going to Mars.
Yeah. There better be a lot of lithium there.
There is. There is. Okay, so I'm going to bring it back because we've been talking about kind of what is potentially what we need to be prepared for the next decade. And, again, for everybody out there watching, listening, this is not hypothetical. These vehicles have the ability to do this currently right now. We're only going to see this type of AI technology.
I think this is one part of Steve Greenfield's book that he got right.
Yeah. I'm one part. Okay.
Well, I mean, but there's a couple of parts. There's some parts in there I'm not a fan. I'm not going to buy into.
Sure.
Now they may or may not happen, but the idea that my vehicle picks me up does remind me of things I need to do. When I go home, it takes itself to the service department, gets itself fixed, comes back. I can 100% buy, but I think that's just a step in a short window to the next thing. The car drops me off and goes and does something else.
Yes.
I mean, once the car starts driving itself, there's no need for me to own the car anymore.
Well, I think ownership changes, right? Because I'm
the
honest
perception
with you,
of ownership changes.
I am always going to own my
E
E63. I'm sorry, but I am. I'm always there's just something about that supercharger whine that I'm always going to own the bloody thing. So I think ownership changes. Ownership changes to
you want to own it, not then you have to have it.
Exactly.
Again, that's what we've been talking about. That's why the cars are getting cooler.
So
the cars have to get cooler because you got to want to own it.
And that goes and people go, well, that's not possible. No, that is, because look at power sports, all right, and the RV, all right. None of these industries are things you have to own. They're things you want to own, and they strive and do very, very well in the industry.
Yeah, they make a lot of money.
More than us.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
That's a whole other podcast.
When vehicles get to the point where it's not a need, but it's something I want, yes, I believe the vehicle changes entirely, but I also think the profitability, similar to what you see in RV and in power sports, will change as well.
Right.
So why have cars gotten so damn expensive?
Because the cool stuff you have to make me want it are expensive.
Or the emissions standards at 56 miles per gallon makes the engineering that goes in the vehicles today off the charts, right? And so in 2012, Obama's the guy that started all this stuff, right? With the escalation of emission standards that push guys out, right? You got to get, so it went from 7 years lifespan of scrappage rate was about 7 years when in 2012. Well, today's 14 years. Why? Because they had to make a better car. Okay, what's that mean? Less transaction, less money, deal flow.
Yeah.
Everything. If cash stops moving, we stop moving.
I think you have to go back and say, I can't stop progress.
No, I'm not saying
it stops because it stops cash from moving.
Mm-hmm.
I think you got to look at you just got to look somewhere else.
I'm not saying you stop the progress. It's the people behind the progress. So you mentioned AI, okay?
Sure.
Well, that's only as good as the guy that programmed it.
Yep.
What's the purpose, to your point, what's the purpose with electric vehicles? It's not to be a car company, it's to be a data company, right?
Right, or to be an energy company.
Whatever. But
Yeah.
so the mask of all this technology is masking the underneath what the purpose or what the people or the company providing is their real intent. Right?
Yes.
What is the real intent?
Well, I mean, the real intent is behind making a better vehicle has always been something. There's always been something that's stopping it, right? You go back to the 70s, right? If the gas, the oil embargo and the gas prices don't do what they do, then Japanese cars don't come to America.
We would still be driving 440s.
We'd still be driving V8s and Continentals as long as it's building, right? And so that made the change, right?
But it was a false positive, right? Because there was plenty of oil. We were
nobody was saying there wasn't any oil. Everybody was saying oil costs way too goddamn much money, and we've got to find a cheaper way to get around, and we've got to find better service and longer and better gas
and I like
mileage.
that you brought that up, because see how that, and it was quick, right? We're talking about within a decade, if not even less, how that fundamentally just totally changed the entire car business from what was, I mean, it's funny, when you actually look like an Oldsmobile 440 and then look what was being pumped out 5 years later is damn near embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's just, so it happened quick.
Yeah.
And I can see this doing the exact same thing.
Right.
We're not talking about a couple of decades.
No.
You can't stop it.
You can't stop it.
No.
And I'm not suggesting you do stop it at all. What I'm suggesting is you understand the purpose of the AI.
No.
And what you're buying.
Yeah. Well,
right?
if you take this all the way back to AI, right? AI is just like anything else. It's about convenience.
Right. It's all about
and it's about getting stuff done that you don't necessarily want or can't do, right?
Yes.
The reason why the dealership will change from a BDC to an AI model is because
economics.
Number one, people are freaking expensive.
Yes.
And
they're inconsistent, unreliable, and just flat ass not scalable. So period. That's your problem. But you go even further than that.
So you identified the problem is us.
No, the problem is people.
Well,
or inconsistent.
Right.
We're people.
We're inconsistent.
That's just the nature of people, right?
Well, sure.
Right. So the amount of training and management and everything else, it's just. So if the economics won't support having that BDC that way, you got to go find it.
Absolutely, you got to find a different way.
Here's what's not on the table. Not responding to the lead, not responding to the call, not following up. These things are not on the table.
So the convenience for the buyer hasn't matched the inconvenience of the dealer, right? Because the dealers had to add 3 different sales groups to do what one guy used to do.
Right, they had a marketing team, a BDC team, and now a sales team, right?
Now let's
or
go down
my internet sales guys versus my floor sales guys, right?
Well, that's usually the BDC.
All of that is going to get removed. I mean, let's say so the new Volvo EX90, all right, it already has LiDAR built into the vehicle. And there's already multiple vehicles that are coming in behind that the vehicles already got LiDAR built into it. Look, one of the most inconvenient part about buying a vehicle is dealing with those people. When I can just go to the dealership's website and just say, I would like to look at this new Volvo, hit a button, the bloody thing drives to me, no BDC. No sell. Maybe it brings a salesperson so it can go over the product. All right, brings a salesperson with them. You know what I mean?
Good idea. Bring a salesperson.
But I don't need a BDC. I don't. That's
awesome. Right? the car drives up and says, "I have a salesman
for you." Do you know what one of those are?
Here's true to the car.
Delivers the salesperson.
Yeah, true to the car business. There'll be 5 guys sitting on the point. And only one of them will jump. The other 4 will be sitting there with their hands in their pocket playing pocket pool and not get in the car. I want to take you to make money, but only one guy jumps up and goes and gets it done. The other 4 sit there and go, no, I'm okay, I'm good. You're going, I I don't know where to go with that. But what you're getting at there is your way. It's not just this. It's the salesperson doesn't just sell the car.
No, now it's just selling the experience.
Relationship.
There's that, but they facilitate the damn paperwork.
Oh yeah.
Right. I mean, there's still until you get. I mean, there's the whole problem with digital retail is that part of it remains in the government's hands.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Good luck with that. Let me know when that whole title process gets to be digital.
Yeah.
Never going to happen.
Never going to happen.
I tell you what.
Well,
hold your breath.
Never. Yeah. Right.
Hold your breath. Because what happens when the car becomes digital? You don't need the people at the DMV anymore.
That's
you know
true.
what happens there? People lose their job. You know what happens then? You lose your position in Congress. Yeah, I don't think so. Let me think about that a minute. No. So, I mean, it's exactly what Rob's talking about. That's exactly what the UAW's looking at. Yeah, it's exactly what the UAW's looking at. Yep. Okay, there's we don't need as many people. We're not going to have to build as many parts. We're not going to. We got to back into this because I'm all about my job.
Yes.
Now I'm not all about what's good for the consumer. I'm not all about what's good for humanity.
No.
Nobody gives a shit about humanity.
Right.
It's about what's good for me now.
Right now.
Right. And none of these things are good for them now. Right? And so until something gets good for you now, you're screwed.
And anytime you can take something that takes 15 people to do this, now it takes no people. Well, it's okay, what are you going to do with these 15? Right? That's the part that it doesn't scare me, but I'm thinking, okay, who's thinking about this stuff that people have to be able to do things, right?
Yes.
One, the psychology of doing work is very important. To bring value to what you do. And when you don't have value in what you do or purpose, your brain gets fried. Or
you start acting like an idiot. You start doing things that people are doing today, driving trucks into crowds. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's
because you have too much time. You don't think for 5 minutes that dude did not have enough time on his hands to go research how bad America was and all this other stuff. And the next thing you know, he's getting turned because he had time on his hands. Get your ass to turning wrenches, and you don't have time to go look that shit up.
That's right.
By the way, for everybody out there watching and listening, this is one of the things I love about this podcast. Just so you know, we actually started the podcast to talk about AI, but
we're off on a different day.
We've talked about how fundamentally the world's psychology, the psyche of every man is going to change.
All of these things are intertwined because they're all intertwined. And if you start thinking about it, they're all intertwined.
Well, didn't your mother tell you idle time is the work of the devil?
The devil.
How true is that?
Yes.
So guys, I mean, look, there's some truth to this. So as a dealer, and I know we're getting towards the tail of our time, so I'm gonna get you guys kind of final thoughts on this. Like maybe it's the Boy Scout coming out in me. For me, it's like I just want to be prepared. I don't care if you disagree with it or agree with it, or you think it's going to happen in a decade or 3 decades. How do dealers just be prepared for this real technology that currently does exist?
That's here right now.
That's here right now, and is only going to continue to grow over the next decade or two.
How do you get prepared? You have to have an interest to do your own homework, but I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I can't predict.
Well, no one can predict out.
No, it's more about being preparation. But I think educating yourself is key for preparation.
Right. Go start using ChatGPT. Go use Perplexity. I use Perplexity almost exclusively. I never go to Google. I don't go to Google anymore.
Yeah.
Go use Perplexity. Go use Anthropic. Go get into these AI and use them and just ask it questions. Just start utilizing it. That's
how fast it spits out your answer.
Your answer, right? And it gets you to your answer instead of all the crap. Right? Look at that. Start there, but start to look at. When it comes to
application,
right now we're in the generative AI phase,
100%.
Right?
Yep.
So, right now we just got through building an application where our content generates content.
Yes.
Yep.
And so we've got that rolling out, and where you can anytime, and you think about it as a dealer, all you are is a marketing sales entity. All you do is generate content.
Yes.
Right? Your salespeople, when they talk to customers, it's content. So you're a content agency, no matter whether you or entity, whether
you're a communication
business
entity,
right, and that's
so
content.
But it's going. We give different labels or terminology to things that we've been doing forever. Right, forever. And that's what the digital guys did when they came in and got us off on impressions, clicks, instead of car floor ups.
Yeah.
Right? Because they didn't deliver floor ups. They weren't responsible for that. They were just responsible for getting on your website.
I got to sell you what I got. I mean, and that's the mark of a good salesman. I'm not going to take that away from him.
No, I know.
I'm not going to take that away from him.
It's disenfranchising to see a whole industry get taken to the bank on acronyms and changing the language that means nothing.
Right. Well, I mean, I mean, I was right in the middle of that, so I'm not gonna throw those stones.
I will. I've got thrown the stones at me.
I mean, I did not ever think it would go so far that we wouldn't care anymore about our customer base. That we would stop wanting to talk to them because we want to get a click. I never thought it would go that far, but it has gone that far.
Yes.
And
that's the challenge.
That's got to come.
Everything.
That's got to drag. That's got to get dragged. We got to drag that back. We're going to drag that.
Well, how do you drag that back if everything goes to AI?
Yeah, well, because AI is the one doing. Well, so
it opens up the opportunity for us to actually get in there. It removes all the redundancy.
That's true.
And so that we actually can focus. Have the time to be able to execute that
AI can start a conversation one-to-one.
That's what it's all about.
Right. Can start a conversation one-to-one with you for fractions of a penny.
No doubt about it.
But to get a click, if you're thinking you're going to buy a click for less than $5, good luck.
But why would you want to buy it? I mean, it's not a conversation. Right, it's nothing.
But because you think there's interest behind it,
right?
And there's really not. 30% of them are not even real people
to begin with.
Right.
That's correct.
But at the end of the day, if I send an email to this guy, I know it's a person. I'm starting a conversation, and I'm doing it for a fraction of the cost that it takes to go buy a click.
Absolutely, 100%.
And that's really a conversation. No car ever got sold without a conversation, and no customer ever started shopping without a conversation.
Well, and I think that's kind of the extremes of this topic that we talked about today, right?
Yep.
You know, on a dealership operations level, we're talking about AI and it's assisting in its communication effort, right?
Yes.
And then, we're talking about the entire other side of this is AI driving autonomous vehicles, and that technology only growing. So it's kind of funny, just like here from an operations perspective, it's and then over here it's like the car's driving itself, people. Like it's making its own decisions to brake, stop, accelerate, turn left, turn right, avoid this, avoid that. Like it's interesting to see how wide this technology actually exists.
This is the next 2 years. This is the next 20.
Yes.
Okay. And you can't plan. There's so many things that are going to happen between now and the next 20. You can't plan for them all.
Well, you can't plan for what's going to happen in the next 2 because the next 2 is going to change what happens in the next 20.
Well, not necessarily. I mean,
it could. I mean, absolutely
I need to be prepared. No matter what, my bills are going to come next month.
Yes, correct.
All right?
Yeah.
So I got to prepare. I got to prepare for what I'm going to do next month.
Yep.
What am I going to do to get better every single month?
Yep.
It's just like it's just like what Georgia should have done yesterday.
Yep.
The next don't worry about the next quarter. Worry about the next play.
And
the next down.
And that's been the mantra of any good ball coach is worry about the now, right? Worry about live in the now, be in the now.
Well,
I agree with that.
You have to have people that are in a leadership role that can do both. All right, because you don't want to get stuck in one and not have the other, right? I mean, that was one thing that I felt was really good about the general managers I had at my dealerships is that I let them really kind of focus on the now, which gave me the opportunity to focus on the future.
So,
and that was
car
a great
salesman
balance.
Right now, there's a lot of talk and concern that they don't know how to sell cars because they didn't have to do it for so long. 3 years, a long time. Now you're getting back to the training aspect of it. The trainers that we came up with don't exist today.
No.
Right?
No, the trainers that exist out there now are training on the tools that actually allow you to do this faster.
So that's a different animal
podcast
to itself in a different podcast.
We do that.
Yeah.
Well, guys, look, I think with that, I think it's a perfect time for us to kind of conclude today's podcast. For everybody out there watching, listening, we greatly appreciate your guys' support. And hey, Larry, where can they find other podcast episodes?
Well, you can go to thedealercast.com, thedealercast.com, and you'll find the latest episode, subscription button to subscribe. Please subscribe. We'd love to have you. The biggest compliment.
We'd love to have your data.
Yes, we'd love.
We'd love
yes, please.
to have your data.
Yes.
No, actually.
Please go.
Kidding.
Please go there and spend a lot of time.
Yeah.
We're scraping everything out of your data.
No, but seriously though, for everybody out there watching, listening, we really appreciate you. If you have a friend or a colleague or a manager or something that needs to listen to some part of this conversation, one of the biggest compliments you can ever give us as content creators is to share the show. So guys, thank you so much. And for everyone out there, thank you. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you.
Take it easy, guys.
Thanks for tuning in to the Old Guys Know Shit podcast with your host, Old Guys Who Know Shit. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy podcasting.